This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you feel like your best, fam, you can do anything. You can accomplish all those goals in your life, make sure your family's good, and even start, who knows, a mildly successful podcast. Sometimes life gets you bogged down. You might feel overwhelmed. You're not showing up every day the way that you want to. But working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of you. Because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything that life throws at you. The benefits of therapy are endless. It's great to just check in with somebody who can give you some perspective on life. Make sure that you're meeting all the goals that you've set for yourself in life. So whether or not you've been in therapy, now could be the time to give BetterHelp a shot. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out their brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Couldn't be easier. If you want an empowered life, therapy can get you there. So visit BetterHelp.com/madaboutmovies today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/madaboutmovies.
Richard, the Sky beat the Liberty 87-74 tonight.
Okay.
Just so you know.
That's
I know
cool.
you were pretty concerned.
No, I had them with the points, so
yeah.
that's good.
Well, they covered, so you're good.
Wait, the Liberty lost?
I know. Sorry, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. I'm Kent Garrison.
I'm Brian Gill.
And I'm giggling like a little girl, and I'm also Richard Barton.
And this is Mad
About
My
Da 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 da! You sound insane. You realize that? Yeah. The whole world gone crazy! It's showtime.
Mad About Movies is your go-to podcast for all things cinema. We talk movie news, movie rumors, and we give you a detailed analysis of our chosen movie of the week. But don't worry, we will warn you when we go into spoilers. Remember to stay tuned to the end of each episode for our weekly recommends, in which we each suggest something that you need to check out ASAP. This week, we are focusing our efforts on what, Brian?
the comedic genius movie, This Is the End.
I'm the best we could ever plan. James Franco's having a giant party. This place is beautiful, man.
This place is like a piece of me. You two just stepped inside me.
How well said, Brian. Comedic genius
Thanks.
movie. That should be on the poster.
Yeah.
Is it too late to submit that? Are they still taking?
We can always make a fan poster, you know.
We need to get, that needs to be our goal. We need to get on a poster.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone knows how to do that, just email us.
Yeah.
If I'm not on the MacGruber 2 poster with my review, I am going to go.
You're literally going to say, Richard, and I know, you're going to say, the best movie in the history of cinema. How can they not print that on the poster, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Richard Barton, Mad About Movies podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Just when I thought you couldn't make anything greater than MacGruber, you somehow do. Richard Barton.
Yes. Set that one in stone now. That's the review. We can already sell it to him. Let's get things kicked off, guys. I'm looking forward to this episode, though. This is the end. A lot of stars. It's kind of a crazy movie. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. But we do need to talk movie news to start off the show. So, Richard, I know you have something that you want to bring up. So go ahead. Spill the beans.
Oh, I'm sorry. My movie news story is as follows. Liam Neeson, $20 million for Taken 3.
Wow.
$20 million.
Really? So he's going to do it?
Yeah, he's going to do it. He said he'll probably do 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 too, until he can no longer do them. It's funny because the last one he made, it was made for $35 million, 15 of which was his, was his salary. So they still make these very cheap. Like this will probably still only be a $40 million movie with a $20 million star. So I think that's interesting. Liam Neeson's in the $20 million club, the most exclusive club in Hollywood.
But my question is, how much does Maggie Grace get paid? Does she get paid by the step that she takes in an awkward run, or does she get paid by the number of grenades she throws, like in Taken 2? That's my biggest question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly still haven't seen Taken 2. So
Oh man, it's not good. Not good at all.
I have not seen Taken 2 either.
Yeah.
Man, Brian, you see every movie, man.
Hey,
I'll give you so much credit. I need to say it once again. We don't say that enough on this show. Brian, thank you for subjecting yourself to this just for the sake of...
I love the listener, you know. I'll do anything for the listener. Again, in case they haven't heard my joke that I'll recycle again. I am the Tom Cruise of this podcast. I'll do anything for the listener. So.
Yes. Exactly.
Anything.
And you're the best looking, too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
true.
That needs to be said as well.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. I can't believe they're making another one because of how bad the last one was, apparently.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money.
Yep.
Made a ton of money.
375 worldwide. 375 million.
Wow.
For a $40 million investment.
Yep.
Wow, that's incredible. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be the new Paranormal Activity or what movie will they not stop making over and over again?
Pretty good. That's a pretty the
Fast and Furious guys. We gotta say that.
But those are awesome. So
they're gonna keep recycling them because they keep making money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm hoping
they
that
are awesome though.
21% on Rotten Tomatoes for Taken 2, by the way.
Wow. I'm just surprised that I just want them to cross it over. Like, you know, Dom and O'Connor go to some former Yugoslav country and run into Liam Neeson's character. That's the only way to redeem it.
Right.
It's true.
And then
it's not out of the realm of possibility either.
Absolutely not. It's like, I got a very peculiar set of skills, too. Great. Racing
cars and grill hot dogs with the best of them.
There's that's a great story though. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Taken 3. We'll have to do that one because it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be great.
Hey, can I share my movie news since we kind of segued unintentionally there? So just came down right before we started our podcast on Empire's website, empireonline.com, that Mr. Vin Diesel has been contacted by Marvel.
For?
That's the thing. They don't know yet.
Oh, no.
Diesel itself would not say.
Oh, my heart just started beating so
it's
fast.
Guys, it's happening. The three things that they are...
I know what it is.
Okay, what's your thought?
Blade reboot.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all.
That has to be it, right?
That's a pretty good call, dude.
That is a really good call.
So here's the three things that Empire speculates. They say, could it be a Nick Fury movie with Mr. Diesel as Nick Fury? Obviously, could he be up for Thanos in Avengers 2? Which would be
who did we just talk about? That was going to be, wasn't it? Benicio del Toro. I thought he was going to be Thanos.
Yeah, that's a good maybe. Yeah, you may be right there. I know we talked about him. I couldn't remember what.
So they would do a Nick Fury movie without Sam Jackson.
That's just what they are.
But there's no way they would do that because they've got that whole universe where everyone exists in that universe. I'm going to go ahead and rule that out.
Yeah, I would say that one's out. The other one was, could they have him voicing Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, maybe that would be awesome.
Not a bad. I mean, he's got the Iron Giant on his resume, so that's not a bad thought.
That would actually be awesome. Now that I'm thinking about it, that would be seriously
this is the exact quote from Diesel, who posted this on his Facebook page. Who, by the way, Diesel, the best. Is he the best? The best celebrity with Facebook and social media? Like
he's been called the king of social media.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a tattoo on it, I think.
Right. So he says on Facebook, quote, "Marvel has requested a meeting. No idea what for. Haha, you probably know better than me. ... So it's happening, guys. Our universes are colliding. We're getting the Fast and Furious / Avengers crossover that we've all been waiting for.
Yes, we are.
And I'm done with this podcast. It can't get any better than that. So you're gonna have to find a replacement. Sorry.
If it's Guardians of the Galaxy, do you realize how awesome that movie's going to be?
Seriously,
as Vin Diesel as a raccoon, guys. Talking on top of Zoe Saldana, like literally on top of her. God, it's gonna be greatness.
So whatever happens, I am in favor of this. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, how could that be bad? How could that in any way be bad? You know?
Yeah.
Man, but I hope it's Blade. That makes so much sense.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
We talked about on movie news, movie rumors, movie rumblings one time in the past about the Blade rights being reverted back to Marvel. So, maybe they have just announced 2 movies too for like 2016 that they haven't released the title yet too. So they have 2 yet to be named movies on the horizon. So
I think you're on to something there, Kent. I really do. I could totally see him in that role.
In Blade?
Yeah.
As long as Wesley Snipes is involved somehow.
Yeah.
And like, as his father or something.
Right.
Wesley Snipes how do you not have him in the Fast and Furious yet?
It's gotta
not happen.
It's gotta happen.
Well, I can tell you why, because most of the years that Fast and Furious has been going on, he's been incarcerated.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I want to mention one more thing. Another great segue. A Fast and Furious star is in the news. One guy we like to call Dwayne Johnson. Other people know him as The Rock, but we call him Dwayne Johnson.
Right. We know him as DJ.
DJ, actually.
Yeah.
We're tight.
Yeah.
But he is in the news. Man, latest casting rumor for The Rock is him teaming up with his old pal, Justin Lin, Terminator 5, The Rock.
Ooh.
Nice.
What do you guys think about that?
That's him. I would love to see The Rock fight Arnie. That's like 8-year-old me is like losing his mind right now. So that's pretty great. Yeah, I'm on board. Yeah. As I said before, as we all said before, we're not that enthused about Terminator, but just having Justin Lin involved makes it a big deal for all of us, I think. And hey, The Rock's in it. Even better. Just, that's great.
As long as he is a cyborg.
He will be
a Terminator.
I have read, though, that he will be in Terminator 5, but he will be reprising his Tooth Fairy role. So I don't know how they're going to work.
I thought Larry the Cable Guy took over the reins. No? Tooth Fairy
They're going to work him in, too.
Brian, have you seen Tooth Fairy 2?
No, I haven't seen either of those movies.
Oh, wow.
I don't love the listener that much.
First thing that I've mentioned to you that you haven't seen.
Yeah, well.
Either of the Tooth Fairy movie.
I have Yeah, I mean, I've seen part of it because when I bought the Blu-ray of Tooth Fairy, 2 came as a package deal box set.
Yeah,
so
that's a great deal.
I mean, it was $9. I mean, I gotta.
It's pretty. No. That's a steal.
Yeah, thanks. I know a bargain when I see it.
But hopefully he's a Terminator. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's not like the same role he's in every movie or in every like G.I. Joe and in Fast and the Furious where he's an FBI agent, a highly trained soldier.
Right.
Hopefully he's like a robot. That'd be awesome. But Schwarzenegger and The Rock in a movie, I mean that's going to be great if that happens, and I think it will. So let's get excited for Terminator 5. Just one more reason too. Like we need another one. Yeah, right. That movie's gonna be awesome.
Great.
But one more thing I want to mention for movie news, and I have to mention it because it's not going to get mentioned in another week if I don't mention it right now. So Independence Day 2 is coming out, and it is confirmed. Roland Emmerich has been in the news talking about it because he's promoting his newest blockbuster, White House Down.
Right.
Which we may or may not do on the podcast. We haven't decided. But, so yeah, he said Will Smith is not coming back because he's too famous and too expensive. I think that was his quote.
So I kind of like the fact that he just said that.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, Will Smith wouldn't do it anyway, I don't think, even if they had the money. But, guys, it's okay, though, because Bill Pullman and Jeff Goldblum are back. So, So thoughts, Brian, first of all, on an Independence Day 2 starring Jeff Goldblum and Bill Pullman.
Well, I'm not so interested in that, but, I'll get more interested when we find out that that Will Smith's kid is going to take over his role.
Oh, no.
It'll be...
Please, no. Can he never act again? I mean, I haven't even seen After Earth, and I think he's one of the worst actors ever in the history of Hollywood. I really do.
Yeah, he's Jake Lloyd bad. I mean, he's just so bad.
No, that's not possible. Didn't Jake Lloyd try to kill himself multiple times after Phantom Menace? That's what I heard. I don't know.
Once a year,
he hates himself.
Yeah, once a year, I decide I need to find out what's happening with Jake Lloyd, because I just can't help myself. And every time I look up what's going on in Jake Lloyd's life, I'm not kidding. Every single time that I've done this, it says something, it's like Wikipedia or like a most recent article or whatever. It says, but he's looking to restart his career with an upcoming, movie that he's supposed to star in. And then it never happens. And then the next year I come back and, but he's got a movie coming out, so it'll be fine. And then that one never happens. And then I come back. It's just, I feel bad for him if he wasn't the worst actor of all time.
If there's one thing that the Star Wars prequels did that was good, or if there's actually two things. One of them is getting Jake Lloyd out of our lives. Right. The other one is getting Hayden Christensen out of our lives. I mean, we haven't seen either of those guys since, so thanks for that, George.
Whoa, I just looked up Jake Lloyd for the first time ever, I think, and I can't believe that's what he looks like. Didn't see that coming. He looks like a dwarf or something. That's sad.
No offense to any of our dwarf listeners.
Yeah. No, I normally say a lot more offensive stuff about dwarves, so they'll get over it.
Yeah.
Great.
That movie doesn't appeal to me at all, really. Independence Day 2.
No, same here. No Will Smith. Yeah, no Will Smith is no Brian Gill, honestly, in that movie. I don't care.
I just hope they do a poster that's like
no Will Smith,
Goldblum.
Yeah.
With them back to back, like they're big movie stars.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
They're both on top of their game right now. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I love Jeff Goldblum, but Bill Pullman literally is playing the president on a terrible canceled sitcom on NBC. And NBC will do NBC gave Whitney 2 years. So, I mean, how many times is he going to play the president?
I don't know.
At least once
Bill
more.
Bill Paxton. Yeah, Bill Paxton blew him out of the water.
Yeah.
Literally,
but hopefully
he did.
But hopefully they, they still use really archaic '90s computer viruses to kill the aliens.
Right.
Because definitely nothing kills, super advanced space traveling aliens like a computer virus written on DOS.
Right.
Exactly. They didn't see that one coming at all.
The big question is, do the new alien ships have USB ports? Because that's a big part of our technology now, and things may have
they didn't have a thumb drive up there, so we couldn't really inject a virus.
We're screwed, guys. Sorry. They don't have a mini disc. I don't know what to do with that. So
we're lucky they had a floppy disk. Back in '95, we really lucked out that they had advanced to space travel, but yet still had a floppy disk to insert the virus into.
Oh,
so dumb.
Welcome to Earth. Oh, great movie. If Randy Quaid's involved at all, I'm in. That's what I'm waiting on the news.
They're gonna have to film out of country. It'd be awkward to film it.
Right.
The Lawrence brothers, weren't they in there?
Oh, the Lawrence brother is in there. The Boy Meets World one.
Yeah, I don't know which Lawrence it is. There's one of those Lawrences.
Matthew.
Yeah. But we'll do that on the podcast.
Jack Hunter himself. Yeah, that has to be podcasted, good or bad.
Yeah, ID4 2. I don't know what it's called.
And hopefully they do the same marketing campaign they're doing with White House Down. So we'll be watching the finals in 2 years, and Bill Pullman and and Jeff Goldblum will be playing one-on-one basketball like Jamie Foxx.
Right.
Like they're the biggest movie stars in the world. I hope they do the same marketing campaign.
They probably will.
Doing press together. We got Pullman and Goldblum. I know, you didn't think it was possible, and it cost us almost $200,000, but we got them.
I'd kind of like to see that movie where Jeff Goldblum and Bill Paxton or Bill Pullman play basketball together. That would be fun. Just reshoot White Men Can't Jump, but without Wesley Snipes. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That's going to be a huge train wreck of a movie. It's funny because he kind of this Roland Emmerich guy kind of he continues to make these big summer movies that no one really likes. right? I mean, has anyone liked any of his movies since Independence Day? And that was 15 years.
No, yeah, but they all make enough money to where, and I'll say this: they're all not so bad that you. They're not the worst action movies ever. Like I'm looking at his filmography. I don't like 2012 is not very good. Day After Tomorrow is not very good. I liked The Patriot, but a lot of people don't.
I like The Patriot.
Oh, he made The Patriot? I didn't know he made The
Patriot. Godzilla was terrible. But other than Godzilla, like, they're not the worst movies, you know? Like, 2012 is a great example. It's like, I think I gave 2012 a B- when I saw it. It's like, I'll never want to see this again. It probably wasn't the best use of 2 hours, but it wasn't so bad that I tried to stab myself afterward, you know, or something. He's an interesting guy. Like, he makes sort of effective movies that don't feel like they're not insultingly bad, I guess. And so he just gets to keep making them and blowing up the White House. And I don't know. He's a weird guy. He's a weird guy.
Yeah. It's interesting career.
Yeah, exactly.
And probably one of those guys sneaky that's worth like $800 million.
Oh, yeah.
And no one knows.
Didn't he make that movie called Anonymous?
Yes.
About like William Shakespeare not being William Shakespeare?
Yeah.
That was supposedly going to be good, but wasn't good.
Right. And then
like a big waste. It's just a huge waste.
And all these sources that he used, the screenwriters used for that movie were like discredited like immediately through like scholars. And
really?
So, I mean, oh yeah, like that whole, I mean, no one knows if what Shakespeare was or what he wrote and didn't write, but what they were using as evidence that this one other guy wrote all the plays that's pretty much universally dismissed in that world. I think it's accepted somewhat that there are probably a couple of the things that Shakespeare didn't write, but I mean, Shakespeare existed and, you know, wrote a majority of his plays. So, but I saw a presentation on like how fraudulent the research was done that movie was based on. It's based on a book, I think. And it's pretty laughable. So I think that's why the movie lost, even though the movie may have been entertaining, the just kind of like discrediting of everything about it kind of ruined the momentum of the release.
Sure. Okay, guys, I just looked it up. Go around the table, guess how much 2012 made worldwide without looking it up.
Oh.
Just give me a ballpark figure.
459 million.
Okay, Richard?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say...
Great.
769,679,473.
$769 million that movie made.
But
that's crazy.
Look at the breakdown. 78.4% of is foreign.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
man. Thanks, Europe.
And as we know, as we've said, on this podcast several times, the rest of the world's really dumb in what they see.
They are dumb.
Their taste in general, and just like if you're listening to this podcast, you're not in America. I mean, like, do everyone a favor and just turn this off and jump out a window.
Oh my god!
And it's probably one of those weird windows that no one could figure out, you know, and like it was everything was designed in IKEA. No, I'm obviously kidding, but
alienating one European listener at a time.
Yeah. Best xenophobic movie podcast on the internet. So I guess that's his secret, right? I mean, that's why he keeps making movies, even though no one knows or cares about him here.
Right.
He makes a ton of movies internationally. Those checks clear just as well as American checks do in that business. So good for him.
Right.
Exactly. Joke's on us for doing the podcast on it. Maybe we'll do White House Down. We might have to squeeze that one in because sure it's going to be entertaining.
So Fox do this thing where he makes a great critically acclaimed movie and then spends the next 5 years making awful movies.
Yes.
Like I get it the first time, like when you're just like, hey, I got to ride this cash cow, man. I did Ray. I got to make some money. So okay, Stealth. Okay, whatever. It took him years to recover from that, and then it's like, all right, Django. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do White House Down and some other nonsense. So, what's he doing?
He's doing Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's true. That's
he
kind of an
wrapped that.
choice.
That might be interesting. But
We'll never solve Spider-Man in that series.
I think he's kind of won his Oscar, and now he's just like, he doesn't care anymore. Because he'll always be that guy who played Ray, and nailed it.
Yeah.
So he's just
But he
sort
nailed
of
Django, too. I mean, he's great in Django.
Yeah. I mean, I
And,
think he'll take any script that sounds interesting, really. And, White House Down could have been something really cool, maybe, and it might be. Because, I mean, Independence Day was cool. People still talk about that, kind of, in sort of a, as kind of a staple in blockbusters. So, I mean, I don't know. Roland Emmerich is interesting, for sure, and so is Jamie Foxx, so interesting combination. Kind of intriguing.
So is Channing Tatum.
And Channing Tatum. There you go.
Who would have thought he would... I would have bet Taylor Lautner on him so hard 10 years ago that he'd be in and out of our lives so quickly, and that guy has a total career, so good for him. Seems like a nice enough guy. But I can't believe he's still around.
That is true. That is kind of weird. And apparently he's actually legitimately, like, awesome. Like, Jonah Hill says he's, like, one of the funniest people in the world. Like, legitimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Channing, I know you're listening, man. You're a
You're
man's
a
man.
listener.
And come be a guest on the show.
Yeah, and when are you going to do another Step Up? Be loyal to your... I mean, I don't know. I've never seen that.
Yeah. No one has. Says the guy who's never seen it, and there's like 5 sequels.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You want to talk about This Is the End?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Let's
Speaking
do
of Jonah Hill.
Hey, man, fam, question for you. Do you own a small business, or are you a boss? Are you looking to hire awesome people, but you just can't find somebody to fill that role? Well, let me tell you about ZipRecruiter.com. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites, all with one click. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. Right now, you can post your jobs for free on ZipRecruiter by going to ZipRecruiter.com/mad. That's ZipRecruiter.com/mad. One more time, try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/mad. Thanks to ZipRecruiter for supporting this episode of the Mad About Movies podcast. Hey, what's up, ma'am fam? Kent here. And yes, if you're hearing from me, you know it's time to talk about Blue Apron. If you haven't tried out Blue Apron by now, what the heck are you even doing? Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. They deliver fresh meals straight to your door. All the food is fresh, it's sourced from local farms, and there's no wasted ingredients. I've been a Blue Apron subscriber for a long time now, and they have still, to this day, never let me down. There's tons of variety. Some featured upcoming meals include summer vegetable and egg paninis, soy glazed pork and rice cakes, skillet vegetable chili with cheddar drop biscuits, holy crap, and garlic butter shrimp and corn with green bean salad. So take it from me. Try out Blue Apron now. Go to blueapron.com/mad. That's blueapron.com/mad. Get 3 meals on us for free. Nothing goes better with a movie than dinner. So check out Blue Apron. blueapron.com/mad. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
The sheriff's office is urging people to stay in their homes right now.
Looting, rioting.
For all we know, the Lakers could have just won, and that's the reason why all this is happening.
I think it's the apocalypse. It's all in here. And he opened the bottomless pit.
The sinkhole, every single time I turn on the news, sinkhole in South America, a bunch of South Americans getting sucked into the ground.
Sinkhole in my house.
All right, guys. Let me preface this by saying I'm a huge fan of pretty much every actor in this movie going into it. Literally every actor in this movie. I've seen probably maybe all their movies in the past 10 years, I would say. I loved Seth Rogen. Huge fan of his work always. Jay Baruchel, probably not as familiar with his stuff as the other guys. But, I mean, having said that, I know I like Jonah Hill. Danny McBride is another story, another level that I'll talk about later. But I really was a fan of all these guys going into it. And I think this is really, really interesting concept for a movie. And you guys might agree with that, might think it's not, might think it's lame. Some people think it's lame. But I think it's a really interesting concept for people to play themselves, sort of caricatures of themselves. But for a big blockbuster sort of action movie like this to be set in some kind of reality, and to have these guys who are huge stars and don't have to make fun of themselves if they don't want to, for them to do that. I mean, literally, they're making fun of their own movies, and their failures and their successes and all that. And it was such a great caricature of Hollywood that I really enjoyed. So, Brian, give me your thoughts on initial thoughts on This Is the End.
Yeah, I should probably preface by saying that I am kind of the exact opposite of you, because I don't like most of. Well, I'm at the very least, I'm very hit or miss on everybody in this movie. I love about 2 or 3 things that Seth Rogen has done, and I hate several things that he's done. Jonah Hill's probably in my book is the best of this group, but even he has a lot of movies like The Sitter or whatever that I'm not a I don't like. I've spoken before about the fact that I'm not a fan of James Franco, and Danny McBride whips the fire out of me in most things that he is in. I loved him in like Tropic Thunder, and I thought he did a really good job in Up in the Air. It's kind of a more dramatic role, but just most of the time, if he shows up, I hate my life. I don't like him at all. So anyway, so all that to say, I too though think that the idea is brilliant. I love I like movie stars, especially. I enjoy an actor who can be self-deprecating towards himself, that is willing to have a good time at his own expense. I always think that that's a great icebreaker and a great way to at least put on an air of humility, even if you don't really feel that way. So the idea of these guys playing sort of exaggerated versions of themselves in the midst of an apocalypse is a really genius idea. And so I give them all kinds of credit, Rogen and his buddy Evan Goldberg for putting that together. As a movie, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think that of the 3 of us, I expect that I'll probably be the lowest end of the 3 of us as far as our love for the film. But I think that's comedy is just so subjective, and I don't find most of the guys in this movie in the other movies that they've been in, I don't find them all that funny a lot of times. And so I will readily admit up front that I kind of went in thinking, I love this idea. I'm not so sure that I'm going to enjoy all of the people. And that kind of held true for me throughout some of the movie anyway, if that makes sense.
Richard.
Yeah, so I think you may be surprised. So for me, I love a lot of these guys' work. So Knocked Up to me was a seminal movie. For me, it was the first time, I think I was like 19 or 20 when that movie came out. And it was the first time that I saw kind of my friends on screen. I saw that movie like 4 times in the theater, Knocked Up, that is. And not so much in personality or like that I'm that crass or we're that crass, but just in the way, the cadence that they spoke in and the way they made. I just thought that movie showed male to male friendships unlike any movie I'd ever seen. And then Superbad took that to an even other level. And Superbad maintains of that, Rogen, Siegel, Hill, Sarah, Franco crew. Superbad's my favorite movie from all of them. I love that movie. And Pineapple Express, not so much. Obviously, the really bad ones, the Sitters, the Your Highnesses, the Observer Reports. I have no use for any of those in my life. And so I went to this, but I like Seth Rogen as a writer and Evan Goldberg as a writer, and thought this was an interesting premise, and thought it was cool they're playing themselves. I knew there'd be some laugh at their own expenses. Franco, was kind of making fun of this weird persona that he's become over the last 5 years or so. It was good. I would say my review of this movie is that it was fine, but I'm with you, Brian. Danny McBride wears me out, and I actually didn't love this movie. I didn't think it was bad by any means, and I was entertained the whole time, but I didn't laugh out loud that much, if at all, really. I just kind of smirked and enjoyed it, but if I never see it again, I never see it again. I would probably give it a B minus. And I wanted to like it more. I went in really hopeful, and but I don't think my expectations were unrealistic, because I know these guys are all capable of also doing some horrible stuff. But yeah, it's fine. I'm glad I saw it, but we will finish this podcast here in 20 or 30 minutes, and I will probably never think about this movie again.
Wow, I'm surprised. I really am. I thought you would really be higher on it than I am, but.
I think in concept it was good, and the performances were fine. I just didn't find the jokes to be that as much as I wanted to have, as much substance as I wanted them to have. And the apocalypse bit was funny, and it had a clean little, cute ending, and certain morality to it that was funny. But it was honestly. I didn't have much use for Craig Robinson in the movie. I didn't have any use. McBride had some of the bigger, funnier moments in the movie, but he also had some of the just beat down parts.
Yeah.
And just I just couldn't fully get into it. I don't know what it was. I did not love it. I didn't hate it. I liked it fine. But anyway, you guys go ahead.
Yeah. Good stuff, Richard. Thanks. Man, I agree with both of you guys. I'm sort of in the middle on this one, though. I think I really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't put it, in my top favorite comedies. I wouldn't put it above the ones you mentioned, Richard, like Knocked Up or Superbad, at all. But I liked the little moment between Michael Cera and Jonah Hill and Christopher Mintz-Plasse, where they kind of all three of them together on screen. Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. They gave them a scene together, so
absolutely, those three guys are just absolutely magic together. And you can't make Superbad 2.
How are they not going to make Superbad 2? That has to happen.
I know you can't. I understand. Yeah, I know it does, but I get why you don't want to. But you need to. You know how it took I just worry that the same thing's going to happen. Sarah and Hill have such great chemistry and such a unique chemistry, and it's kind of like what they did with Vaughn and Wilson. They have this great chemistry, then you don't see them for 10 years, and then they pop up in, whatever that awful movie was, just the Google movie, and the Internship, and it's too late, and that chemistry is kind of lost, and the script's bad. I hope that doesn't happen with Sarah and Hill, because those two are absolutely greatness together. Superbad is an unbelievable movie. I rewatched it after I saw.
It is so good.
It's so funny.
It's a classic. Like, it's straight up. I know you don't like it, Brian. But I
think Superbad's great.
I think Superbad is maybe the funniest movie of the past, decade.
Agreed.
It might be, in my opinion. Besides MacGruber.
Yeah.
Right. No, I actually say that MacGruber to me is the funniest movie of the last 10 years, but Superbad to me is the best comedy.
Maybe, yeah.
Because Superbad is more than kind of funny. It's a sweet movie. MacGruber's just basically a skit for an hour and a half.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah. Brian, go ahead.
What were you going to say about Superbad, Brian?
No, Superbad. I agree with you guys. I think it's a great comedy and very funny. I probably wouldn't put it quite as high as you guys do, but I totally understand why why people love that the way that they do. And I 100% agree that the chemistry between Hill and Michael Cera is spectacular.
That's not what only makes Superbad great. Is also Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as cops together.
Yeah. I agree, and that's my favorite part of the movie is Rogen.
It's when it's not Jonah Hill and Sarah, it's Seth Rogen and Bill Hader together. You know, it's amazing. With McLovin. And it introduced us to Emma Stone, who's an angel. So.
Yes,
that's right.
It did. There's a lot to love about that movie.
There is, absolutely. So on the Danny McBride point, I think I agree with you. A lot of his stuff, Your Highness and stuff, is just unbearable. A lot of stuff he's been in is just over the top. It's just nonsense. But him as Kenny Powers, like, I don't care who you are. I think season 1 of Eastbound and Down is some of the funniest TV ever. I really do.
I do agree with you on that, but I will say seasons 2 and 3 of Eastbound and Down are awful to me.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think
that's why I said
was
season 1. Like, I can see why you wouldn't like season 2 or 3, but season 1, like, there's definitely a stride there that they hit on the perfect. Like, they utilized him as an actor, comedian, perfectly for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
The perfect haircut, the perfect like character for just him. I mean, it's so great.
I don't like about him, and the thing that reason I'm confused by him. I've seen him interviewed at length on podcasts, and he's a really interesting, nice guy, really smart, really mild mannered, and seems really intelligent and smart about himself and whatever. But he's just kind of a one-note comedian to me. It's always the same bit of him as the guy that the just absolutely unlovable jerk that just says things and talks quickly but says nothing kind of guy. And it is really funny the first time you see it in Eastbound and Down that first season, and the writing's really good on that. But then after that, you're just kind of, and everything else he's done, he's to me the worst part of Pineapple Express. He is good in Up in the Air. Brian, good call there. I would love to see him, hit that second note in his career because I think he's a talented and nice human being, and I root for him. I just don't enjoy him, and I could not stand him most of the time in this. He did have a couple funny bits in this movie.
The funniest scene in the movie, I thought, which got the most laughs in my screening, was the scene between him and James Franco arguing about the adult magazine or whatever.
Right.
Go back and forth. I think that was maybe the funniest scene in the movie. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was kind of hilarious to me, I thought. When I left, that's what stuck out to me. James Franco, let's talk about him in this movie. Brian, I know you probably found him unbearable, but I found him to be a quite funny caricature of himself.
I agree.
I did too. And that's... I wish that I could...
He nailed it in this movie, actually. I'll just go ahead and say that.
Like, every time I watch a James Franco movie, I don't know. I don't understand my own feelings, honestly, guys, but there's always this feeling of, like, I should like this guy. Like, I really should. Because he is good. He's a good actor. He's talented. I thought I loved how self-deprecating he was. And I thought that was great. And then I think every time I see one of his movies, I spend 30 minutes trying to get over my dislike of James Franco, and then I spend the rest of the movie like, oh, I like James Franco, he's pretty good. And then as soon as I get out of the movie, I'm like, God, I hate James Franco. I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't know what it is, but you're right. This was I enjoyed his role here quite a bit, and I thought
he's a roller coaster for me.
Yeah. As far as just the characters in the movie, and I know that they're themselves, but they're caricatures of themselves. He was my favorite of the whole group, but it doesn't make me like James Franco anymore. I don't know. Maybe I just need to meet him and become friends or something so that I can get over this, but I just can't do it.
He's the actor version of John Mayer. Like, there's this great Corolla bit that he always says the first thing he's going to do when he goes to heaven is ask God, all right, I got to know, John Mayer douchebag or cool?
Right.
And because you never know. It's just when you start to like him, he does something insufferable.
Yeah.
And James Franco's kind of the same way. Like,
that's a great comparison.
I don't care just want to know either way.
Yeah.
Am I a James Franco fan or am I not?
Right.
You know.
Right.
And to me, him and John Mayer. I just want to know whether or not I can like them or not.
Right.
Just when when John Mayer shows up on Chappelle and does a great bit.
Yeah.
Then he does something, just some awful song, or dates Taylor Swift or something, and I'm back to square one. And that's Franco. This is definitely a point in the Franco book. But then he'll release some collection of short stories that's just unbearably pretentious, and I'll be back at where I began. And there's all these stories about how he's not as academic as he pretends, and he's kind of paid for these degrees and didn't go to class and all this stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff out there, but I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? I thought he nailed it in this movie. I just wanted to say that.
Definitely the best.
I love the little Pineapple Express 2 bit.
Yes,
they had
that was my
going
favorite
on.
part by a mile. I thought I was dying during that part, and I think that's where the movie peaked for me, for sure.
Yeah.
I heard an interview with Seth Rogen where he was like, that's always been our idea for Pineapple Express 2. We kind of wasted it on this movie. But like apparently that is their real idea.
Sorry.
Very cool.
Yeah, no, that I would actually see that movie that they were describing. I was like, that's actually pretty funny. But yeah, I love the characters of themselves. I like Jonah Hill, just super pretentious. Legitimately thinks he's a better actor than everybody in the room. You can tell.
Yeah.
And I love it when he was saying a prayer and he was like, "God, it's me, Jonah Hill from Moneyball."
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It's a genius idea. It really is. As I was watching it, I was kind of wishing that like the Anchorman crew had done this idea back in 2005 or something when Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn and all that group were still super relevant. Yeah. In addition to Will Ferrell and Steve Carell and so on, like I would have loved to have seen that group do this same sort of thing because I think it's a great idea, and I'll echo I'm with you, Richard, on what you said earlier. Seth Rogen, as a performer, I don't really care so much about, and sometimes actually genuinely do not like. But as a writer, I think he's very gifted, and so this idea is brilliant, and so I give him a lot of credit for that. I just didn't love the entire product. Are you guys surprised how much at the overwhelming amount of support that this movie has gotten? Because it's like I felt like the movie met the expectations I had for it like a month ago, but by the time I got into the theater, because of how much everybody has just said what a great movie this is, I was a little bit disappointed because it wasn't that good to me.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think they're just glad it wasn't a disaster like movie 43 or something.
Sure.
It's like, wow, all these people are in it and it's actually pretty good. Wow, that's something to write home about, kind of. So.
Right.
Sorry, Richard. What were you gonna say?
No, should we talk about who besides the core guys? Whose performance did you enjoy?
Emma Watson.
Yeah.
What an angel.
Yeah.
I like Emma Watson a lot. Of the core guys, I just wanted to say that I think Craig Robinson was in the movie just so that in every shot he could have that towel on him that says Mr. Robinson.
Right.
Did you notice that? In every scene he had a towel. It was just, I think that was the joke. That was the joke of having him in the movie. Was just, and during the apocalypse, he just has a white towel just draped over him the entire time.
Right.
But no, he was pretty pointless to be in the movie. I agree. Out of that, I wish Aziz Ansari had been in it more. He's literally in one scene. I think Aziz is hilarious. He just kind of steals.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera was hilarious, man. Yeah,
the bathroom scene with Michael Cera is one of the funniest things.
Yeah. You know that windbreaker he was wearing?
Yeah.
They said he just showed up to set and just had that windbreaker, and he refused to take it off. He was like, "No, this is my character. He just wears this windbreaker."
That's awesome.
And it was great.
Michael Cera is
very, very gold. And he is. I don't know. I don't know what kind of career he's going to have still, but the fact that he wrote a lot of this new season of Red Development and some of the other stuff suggests that we're going to have Michael Cera around for a long time. Seems like a talented guy, and I'm pumped on that guy. He's so funny. This role just takes it to another level. What you would expect.
Yeah, totally. Jason Segel, random cameo. Surprised he wasn't in it more because he's sort of.
That was funny. I
would have loved if
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I wish Michael Cera and Jason Segel had been part of the little circle.
Absolutely. I would absolutely have traded them for Danny McBride and Craig Robinson in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd make that deal right
Jay
now.
Baruchel, too. I don't really find him that funny at all. He's charming. Great personality on screen. I don't think him that funny, though, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. All the laughs for me came from Jonah Hill or, I don't know, McBride. I mean, and Franco. I got to hand it to them. They had a lot of funny moments in this movie. I don't know if it was the writing or improv, but I got to say I was laughing. So anything else you guys want to mention about the movie in general? It's sort of an action movie. We haven't really talked about that. But this is definitely there's a lot of special effects in this movie. Sort of a monster movie, kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of spiritual warfare goes on. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, kind of a lot to this movie, more than we're giving it credit for, I think.
And they made it pretty cheap, and it looked pretty decent. I was
$30 million.
Yeah. They said this cost just as much as Pineapple Express, and with all those effects, it's kind of surprising.
Wow, that's true. I mean, pot is expensive, so that's where all the money went to. Anyway, let's. Anything else you want to mention about This Is the End, guys? Before we do weekly recommends.
No, don't take your grandparents to see it. That's
Oh, it's definitely a hard R, and one of the reasons we can't go into specifics is because it's just all dirty jokes, and we don't want to have to mark this podcast explicit just because of this episode. So, So yeah, just talk to us on Twitter if you want to know our feelings. Maybe we'll hit you up on there. But
so what would you guys give grade wise?
I would give it a solid B, maybe a B plus.
Yeah,
I thought it was solid. I really did. I thought it was about an 85 to 89% on Rotten Tomatoes is where it is now. I mean, that's a perfect grade, I think, for it. It was funny. I mean, it had action. It was entertaining. Wasn't a disaster, and I don't hate anyone more in the movie since I saw it. So that's always good. So Brian,
there is talk of a sequel. There is talk of a sequel, by the way.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, honestly.
Basically, the thought is it would take place at the premiere of This Is the End. So it would be extremely meta in that they're playing themselves.
Yeah,
and
so it would start the way that Tropic Thunder ends, basically, with the Oscars.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that's not a bad idea.
So it would start with it would basically. With the opening conceit would be that This Is the End was a movie, and all their roles would then be reversed. Apparently, like Seth Rogen would be a colossal d-bag, Michael Cera would be a really nice guy. Like they would just basically turn that movie down on its head. So
that's funny.
We'll see.
That's a good idea. I would watch.
They're writing it right now as we speak. Yeah. They're writing it.
Good. That's a funny idea.
Really good idea. Yeah. So maybe it'll happen, and we'll do it on the podcast for sure. Anything else y'all want to mention before we do weekly recommends?
No.
All right, let's do it. Brian Gill, weekly recommend.
I've been really locked in on Sopranos, and haven't really been watching much else lately. And there hasn't been anything coming out on DVD and Blu-ray that I want to rent and check out. So I'm gonna do a first for our podcast. I think I'm gonna recommend another podcast, a competitor.
How dare you?
I know. I should have cleared it with you guys first. I apologize. It's called the Firewall and Iceberg podcast. It's from hitfix.com. I recommended last week my weekly recommendation was The Revolution Was Televised, which is a book by Alan Sepinwall about some of the greater TV dramas of the last 15 years. And if you didn't listen to our last episode or didn't hear me say that, please go check that book out because it's incredible. Anyway, Alan Sepinwall is one of the hosts on the show, and the other guy is Daniel Feinberg, and they just talk about TV. So maybe they're not really a direct competitor since we're mostly movies, but I love the format. They do a great job of discussing different things each week. I think a lot of other TV podcasts kind of fall into the trap of each week they talk about Mad Men, Game of Thrones, and maybe one other thing, and then that's it. They do most of their episodes are an hour and a half long, and they will talk about 6 or 8 different shows or different topics during that time frame. They did a great set of episodes on the upfronts where all the networks announced their TV schedules for the following season. That was 2 or 3 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, something like that. Anyway, it's a very informative podcast. It's a great. I like podcasts like this that they give you some new information, bring some new stuff to the table, but also break down the things that I'm watching. And they always have 1 or 2 little segments that are like right now in the summer. Each week they're doing a pilot rewatch. So like 2 weeks ago, they both rewatched the pilot for Deadwood, and they talked about that. This last week they did the pilot for Veronica Mars. And discussed it, and it's just it's a very very smart little interesting show. They have a lot of good stuff to share. Both of them are very plugged in and very knowledgeable. And as I said last week, I think Sepinwall is, for me at least, is the best TV critic going right now.
Oh yeah,
and so
he kind of invented that episode by episode review of
totally.
I mean that's his bait. I mean. Any modern TV critic owes a lot to that guy. So
right.
Also,
well, and he's one that embraces what we do here too, which is, we're breaking down the movies and we're trying to look at them critically. But at the end of the day, we love movies, and I would say we like more movies than we don't like, and that's part of what we try to view it from a fresh moviegoer perspective rather than a critical perspective. You know what I mean? And I think Sepinwall does a great job of striking that balance between looking at it critically, but not trashing it at the same time. So it's a good podcast, and I've enjoyed listening to it over the years or the last few months. So
sweet. What's it called again? Sorry.
It's the Firewall and Iceberg podcast.
Firewall and Iceberg podcast. Great. Thanks, Brian. Let me give my weekly recommend. James Gunn is directing a movie called Guardians of the Galaxy, which we've talked about actually on this podcast today. He's known for a great superhero movie called Super, starring Rainn Wilson, Ellen Page, and Liv Tyler and some other people. Just got added to Netflix, and I want to recommend it this week. It's basically kind of like Kick-Ass. A guy just basically becomes a superhero by himself, but it's kind of a lot darker than Kick-Ass. Definitely a drama, really intense sequences involving, hardcore violence and murder and things like that. But, I mean, it's really, really well done. Definitely, it's very stylistic. I definitely see potential there for Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's really interesting what he's going to do there for Marvel. So my recommend this week is Super, directed by James Gunn.
Sweet.
Have you guys seen it?
I have, yeah. Yeah, and I loved Rainn Wilson. Yeah, loved him.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
did.
He really takes a dramatic turn in it, and it's great. I think he really pulls it off.
Yeah, and Fillion's really cool too. Like when he shows up is kind of a cool.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Kevin Bacon's in it.
Yeah,
it's a really good movie. So check it out. It's on Netflix, on Amazon. Super is my recommend. Richard Barton, what do you recommend, sir?
Yeah, mine is, I'm going to do a book this week, kind of an interesting little piece, memoir and a little bit of musical history and criticism, and just finished it last night. It's the new book by Amir Questlove Thompson, the drummer and band leader for The Roots, and also Jimmy Kimmel, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon.
and really cool kind of story of that band. I've been a big Roots fan since high school, and just came across them, I think, probably illegally downloading music back in the day, and have kind of been a loyalist for a while, and love that neo soul sound, and the book is really the breadth of his musical knowledge is absolutely astounding. He knows everything ever, as evidenced by, if you watch the Jimmy Fallon show, the really obscure, walk-ons that he does that always kind of apply to the guest. Paul Schaefer kind of invented that form of playing a kind of nod to whoever's walking out. If Neil Armstrong is the guest, then you play Rocket Man by Elton John or something like that. Well, that's a very obvious one, but Questlove does some really obscure things, and just such a talented musician and connoisseur of music. And so, no, this book is excellent, funny, heartwarming, informative on the music side, and an interesting, really interesting, completely, I think, brilliant human being. So I highly recommend. It's called Mo Meta Blues, which sounds like a Spike Lee movie title, but it's Mo Meta Blues by Amir Questlove Thompson. So check it out.
Great. I will check it out. Questlove is awesome. Definitely great.
Definitely.
It's going to be exciting to see him on the Tonight Show. That's going to be for sure.
I know.
So definitely cool. Awesome. Brian Gill, where can I find more of your work online?
You can find me on Twitter at bgill12, and you can find my writing at canbabiesdrinkredbull.com.
Richard Barton.
You can find me online at Richard Barton, or you can find you can find me on Twitter at Richard Barton, or you can find me online at richardbarton.com.
You can find...
If I were to look for you on the interwebs, where might I find you?
Well, Richard, you can find me on Twitter at Kent Garrison. You can find our show on the internet at madaboutmoviespodcast.com. You can download all our episodes there. You can email the show there. Find out more about the show and how it started there. And find Weekly Recommends there, and lots of other things there. So go there right when you stop listening to this, madaboutmoviespodcast.com. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before we get out of here for this week?
No, I'm good.
No.
Enjoy this is the end. If you haven't already seen it, we're a little late on this one, so you may have already seen it. But if you haven't, it's worth a gander, at least for premise alone.
Yeah.
Kind of a new take. We'll see if this catches on, this trend of people playing themselves. Like you said, Brian, I think it could be interesting if other people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully. We'll have to see that. I guess until next time, we will see you at the cinema.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end of our elaborate plans. The end of